You want the truth? Betrayal isn't the real trauma. The
Real trauma is your reaction to it. It's not what they did. It's what it unlocked inside you. The memory of every time you weren't enough. The echo of every door slammed in your face. The collapse of every child defense mechanism you built to survive. They didn't just hurt you. They activated your ghosts. You didn't just lose them. You lost the illusion. The illusion that love is safe. That loyalty guarantees security. That if you're good enough, people won't leave. And when that illusion shattered, you weren't just heartbroken. You were identityless. Because who are you when you no longer need it? That's the part no one sees. You didn't just miss them. You missed who you were when you believed they cared. You missed the false sense of home, the performance of safety, the temporary anesthesia being chosen. You weren't grieving them. You were grieving your own blindness. But let me hit you with something darker. Some betrayals aren't random. They're engineered, calculated, timed, executed with surgical precision. Why? Because hurting you was never collateral damage. It was the goal. You were the trophy, not for your beauty, not for your intelligence, but for your innocence. Your light irritated their shadows. So they set out to dim you, not by attacking, but by slowly convincing you that you were the problem, until one day you looked in the mirror and couldn't recognize a person staring back. Ever notice how they always strike when you're healing, when you're finding peace, when you're finally standing? Because your elevation threatens their control. They come back not to love you, but to reset the damage. They want you questioning yourself again, begging again, bending again. Because as long as you're confused, you're controllable. Let's go deeper. What if I told you some people need to betray you? Because it's the only way they feel real. They don't know intimacy, only invasion. They don't know bonding, only binding. They don't love you, they consume you. And once they've tasted enough of your soul, they spit out the bones. You thought it was love. They thought it was lunch. But here's the poison disguised as medicine. They'll make you miss them, not with affection, but with absence. They leave holes in your psyche, vacant rooms in your emotional house. And in your loneliness, you romanticize the pain. You rewrite the past. You remember the good and edit out the cost. That's the trick. They make the poison feel like nostalgia. You want to heal. You have to stop worshiping the war that wounded you. Stop treating betrayal as a puzzle. It's not a riddle to be solved. It's a boundary to be enforced. They betrayed you. Period. Not maybe. Not half. Not, but they were hurting too. No, they chose to hurt you. And if you don't make that real, you invite the same pattern, dressed in a different face. You ever notice how betrayal always whispers before it screams? It starts with the little things. The late replies, the sarcastic comments, the dismissive shrugs, the way your gut clenched, but your mind rationalized. That was your warning, but you were too loyal to leave, too hopeful to confront, too scared to be alone. So you waited until the scream shattered everything. And here's the sickest part. They'll blame you for the explosion, even though they lit the fuse. Let me hit you with something brutal. Some people need to destroy something good, just to feel alive. And the better you were to them, the more they had to ruin it. Because your kindness showed them their own rot. Your stability threatened their chaos. Your presence reminded them of everything they'll never be. You weren't just a person. You were a mirror. And they couldn't stand the reflection. So they smashed it, then called you broken. But don't play their game. Don't become what they projected. Don't turn cold just because they couldn't hold warmth. You're not here to match their damage. You're here to surpass it. Betrayal doesn't define you. Your response does. So burn the bridge. But bless yourself, not with revenge, but with reconstruction. Because the deepest revenge is becoming unreachable to people who once had full access to you. You didn't lose a friend. You discover the costume they wore, and when they took off that mask, you didn't see betrayal. You saw truth. You were never stabbed in the back. You were stabbed in the front, while smiling eyes distracted you. The cruelest part, they didn't betray you because you were weak. They did it because you were strong, and your strength terrified them. People don't envy the broken. They envy the unbreakable. And when they realize they can't be you, they try to ruin you. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. It was strategy. You were the light. They were moths, drawn to your flame, but only so they could find a way to smother it. You thought you were building with them. They were just borrowing your bricks to build your prison. But listen closely. Betrayal doesn't start when they lie. It starts when you ignore the first truth you didn't want to see. It's not the dagger that kills. It's your trust in the hand, holding it. They knew you'd forgive. That's why they crossed the line. They knew you'd blame yourself. That's why they never apologize. You think the pain is from the betrayal, but the real pain is from the illusion shattering. The version of them you created in your mind died, and now all that's left is silence. But even silence screams. Every act of betrayal is a mirror, not showing who they are, but who you refuse to believe they were. It's not the betrayal that changes you. It's what you become after. Some become colder, some become wiser, and the most dangerous, they become both. You want closure. There is none. They burned the bridge and still had the nerve to act like you lit the match. But here's the twist. They didn't betray you. They betrayed your belief in who they could be. And that belief was your own creation. You fell in love with potential. You fed it. You watered it. But potential is a mirage. It never owes you reality. The most painful betrayal is the one you helped build. You gave them the map. You showed them your weak points and aimed right at them. Because when someone knows you deeply, they know how to destroy you perfectly. And still, you loved them. You trusted them. You made excuses for them. But the biggest betrayal was the one you committed against yourself. Every time you silenced your instinct, they taught you how to doubt your gut, so they could replace it with their narrative. You see, betrayal doesn't just hurt. It reshapes you. It teaches you the language of shadows, how to see behind smiles, how to listen between words, how to never mistake attention for affection again. Now you move different. You trust slower. You observe longer. And that's not bitterness. That's intelligence, forged in fire. Because the ones who walk to betrayal and don't burn, they don't come out softer. They come out sharper, like broken glass, clearer than ever, and able to cut through anything. But you want to know something? Betrayal doesn't always come with a knife. Sometimes it's the silence, the slow withdrawal, the absence that stretches like a shadow, creeping across the places they once stood. And it's in that silence where the real damage happens, when they stop fighting for you, and you're left fighting with yourself, wondering if you misread everything. But you didn't. You saw exactly what they were. The truth was always in the cracks, but you were just too afraid to step over them. What hurts isn't the lies. They're easy to see. What hurts is the betrayal of belief, the promise you made to yourself, that the good in people would always outweigh the bad. But sometimes the good isn't enough. Sometimes it's the bad that wins. And the worst part, they know it. They always knew it. The cruelest form of betrayal is this. When they gaslight you into believing it was your fault, they turn the tables, make you question the truth in your own mind, until you forget that the knife was always in their hand. But here's the kicker. It's not just in betraying you. You betray yourself every time you allow someone else's behavior to define your worth. You betrayed your own value when you let their disrespect slide, when you accepted excuses over honesty. You didn't just give them power. You handed them your dignity. And you want to know why they do it? Because they're scared. They fear your strength. They know that if you ever see yourself clearly, if you ever recognize your power, they would lose control. Betrayal isn't just about one person breaking your heart. It's about the systematic unraveling of your trust. First, they break your trust in them. Then, they break your trust in others. And eventually, they break your trust in yourself. And by the time you realize it, you're already trapped, a prisoner of their lies and your own doubt. But let's talk about the truth now. The real truth. It's not the betrayal that marks the end of the relationship. It's the realization that you needed them to betray you. You needed them to reveal their true selves. Because deep down you knew they would. You were just too afraid to face the facts. But here's where it flips. This is where you take back control. They thought they broke you. They thought they twisted you into a broken mess. But the truth is, they built you. They taught you the most valuable lesson. Not to trust, but to trust yourself above all. And now you see through every lie, every manipulation, every falsehood, because you've been burned, you've been shattered, but you've also been reborn. And the best part about betrayal is the revenge of walking away unscathed, of knowing that while they thought they were hurting you, they were actually making you stronger, making you unbreakable. And when you finally realize this, when you step back into your power, something clicks. It's like the fog lifts. The world, once distorted by their lies, becomes crystal clear again. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone anymore. You don't need their validation, their approval, their empty promises. You walk with the kind of confidence that doesn't need a shout, because you know who you are now, and you know what you're worth. The most dangerous thing you can do in this world is give your power away. But betrayal has a way of forcing you to take it back. It forces you to remember that you are the only person who truly has control over your life. And here's the real twist. The most powerful form of revenge isn't in getting back at them. It's in your transformation. It's in your growth, your ability to walk away, to rise from the ashes and become something they'll never understand. Because while they spent their time tearing you down, you were silently building something they could never destroy, yourself. So, when they look at you now, when they see the new version of you, they'll regret everything. They'll realize that they never broke you. They made you. They turned you into the very thing they feared most. Someone who doesn't need them. And that's the ultimate betrayal. They thought they had control over you, but in the end, they were just a stepping stone in your journey to becoming who you were always meant to be.